All right, this is a hot lap in the McLaren. I've got the P1 endurance set up on, and I've got pretty much full fuel. This is like my first hot lap, coming on to lap 3. So the tyres are warm. I'll run you guys through what you should be looking for in each corner. So coming over the line, obviously all the way over the left side of the track. My breaking point here is just once I should mention that I've moved my FOV out as far as I can so it's similar to you guys on the single screen. Pretty much as soon as this 100 board passes the pillar, that's when I'm popping on the brakes. You see it's just disappeared and I've started the brake input there. Braking as much as I can without trying to trigger ABS, all in a straight line. And then once I sort of get down to the first gear, nice and slow, turn in. I want to clip the inside of this apex the inside of this curb is what I'm looking for. I try to stay off the green stuff because it just unsettles the car just enough to make life difficult. And then starting to opening up the steering, you'll see there's a little bump in the road right there. You'll see it sort of scoops down. Once you hit that scoop and start to come back up, the car grips up a little bit, so it'll pull the car around nice and quickly. But then after that, it'll sort of lighten up the rear a little bit. So be careful. You would have gotten some oversteer once or twice before there. You just want to open the steering up as much as you can and sort of aim to get the tyres right on the curving as you come out. You want to use all that track to maximise your speed down because that obviously carries all the way down here. Actually, I'll show you a quick one from the rear chase as well. So you want to clip that all the way out, in the curving. Try to avoid the sausage curving if you can. It's not the end of the world if your tyres get on it, but if you mount it, it'll fuck you. Coming down to Eau Rouge, flat. You want to hit the green part with the left side of the tyres. It won't upset the car at all. Aim to strike just like the white line is usually what I aim for. And then you might want to pick somewhere for yourself that you like to aim for because you obviously can't see the curb on the other side, but you you just really get used to where it is. You can pick a tree if that's really a thing, but honestly, it happens too fast to notice. You pretty much want to get the middle of the car over it, just to shorten the line as much as you can, so you're not swerving too far over to the right. So here, hug the inside of this corner. You see there's a little dip just there. That gives you an extra half a tenth. Flat all the way down here. Move right over to the left-hand side. You want to be aiming for these curving here. I like to brake right at the start of the curving. You might be a little bit beforehand if you haven't quite got your braking without activating ABS down. So right at the start of the curving, you see I'm straight on the brakes. Straight on the brakes there. All on the curving until I'm ready to turn in. And I'm aiming for the green here. On the right tyres aiming to hit the green. And that'll sort of carry you through. Little blip in the middle. Holding in third gear the whole way through. And you want to try and get the right-hand tyres to follow this curving here. That will slice a couple of tenths off as well. It also helps keep the car in the middle of the road here, which is what you want to be aiming for come the end of the lap. So on the curving, strike the green, little blip, and then you want to mount that curving and get the tyres off. It's a slowdown if these tyres come off this curb, but as long as they're on it, you'll be pretty happy. You gain a few tenths there because not many people do that, especially not in the lower splits. You want to keep the car in the middle of the road, avoid going over to the right because you want to set yourself up for this corner because a lot of time can be gained in this one. Back up onto the curbing if you can get there. You get as far over as you can, but again, you're aiming for this green patch here. You want to cut as much of that curbing as you can, up and over, and then right out to the green with the left-hand tyres here. Show that in the cockpit view as well. So all the way curving, you're going to aim for that patch with the middle of the car. There you go, that's a good reference point there. So just to the right-hand side of the dash, You want to get the car up and over that curb with a decent amount of speed. Not too much. Just enough that you can then plant the throttle as you get over it. You'll see that I'm pretty much full throttle anyway once I decide to go for it. Plant the throttle and then run that right out to the curb there. Coming down the horseshoe, get out on this curbing, open up the corner. I like to V this off a little bit and take a late apex about there, you'll see. I find that it helps open up No Name as well. Late apex, run that. Try not to run it out. This is probably as far as you want to run it out. I wouldn't want to go any further out than that. Otherwise it makes it quite difficult to set up No Name. Right back over and you want to clip that curbing. That's my personal preference. Some people like to stay off it and just stay on the white line. I like to get up on the curb, do what works for you, but it's pretty much full throttle and then off the throttle once you get to the curb or once you decide to turn back. And you want to just sort of roll the car through here, a little bit of brake just to sort of get the car rotating if you need it. And as close to that sausage curb as you can go without hitting it because it throws you off. And then as soon as you pass the apex there, it's throttle on, and you want to get the tyres out on this little bit of green here. It's not the end of the world if you catch a little bit of the gravel here on the tyre. Just obviously don't get too much because it's slow down. This is probably the hardest corner to deal with, in my opinion anyway. On the entry, you want to be all the way up on this curb here. Now, you'll see... Watch the brake trace here as I come through. You'll see that I hold just the tiniest bit of brake, just ever so much, and then it's a slow throttle input. The biggest mistake you'll make here is coming off the brake really suddenly, or getting on throttle super sudden. A big weight shift in the car here while it's already on the limited grip will send you wide, or send you in circles, which it always does. So the biggest tip here is brake earlier than you need to if you're having trouble, but you can just brake at sort of 30-40%. It doesn't need to be a lot, and just hold a little bit. Holding a little bit of brake helps the rotation, but just avoids the big fucking slide. You sort of see the car will sort of sit into it right there, and then slow throttle input. You want to come out and you get as close to this curb as you like. I wouldn't hop over it, but up onto the curb is good here. And then you want to aim just to sort of get nice and close to that white line there. So you need to sort of delay the throttle on. That is fine. Even if you avoid getting close to this curb, but it means that you can get this hug on the inside, that's probably a good thing. I'll just run through that in the cockpit as well so you can see what it looks like. So just letting it cruise, stay in fourth, I wouldn't chip down the third if I can help it. Throttle on, throttle on, throttle on, and then run this out all the way out to the curb. Another one to avoid hopping over because it'll spin you, but as wide as you can get. Down here I like to brake at the start of the curbing here again. Sorry, I forgot to give you a braking point for this one. I again go to the start of the curbing really. No, I don't. I go maybe a couple of car lengths up the curbing. It changes based on how warm my tyres are, I'd say. But just whatever's comfy for you. Again, you can brake really early and just have it soft just to sort of get the car weight shifted forward so that you're comfortable. Braking, looks like I'm braking just before the curbing starts here. Up on the curb again, you want to open up this corner here. The idea of this right-left here is you want to hold and hug the inside. You'll see it's a sort of a late turn in here. And I'm again just holding the brake. Oh, that's backwards. Just holding the brake just a little bit to help with the rotation. You can clip the curbing here. I like to just get a little bit, but some people avoid it. Some people go up on this stuff, which I don't really like. I like trying to avoid that if I can. But just hold this. You'll see that I'm holding like half throttle because I just don't want too much too early, because if you obviously power on too hard, it'll throw you towards sort of this area of the track, which you don't want. You want to hold to the right side of the track. hold it, and then turn in, prioritizing the exit here. Again, on the curbing there, just get up through it, and then run this right out to the, you can run it out to the green line or to the curb. I usually aim for the green line. Again, same as the exit of No Name. You can snip a little bit of gravel, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, make sure you're using all the track there on exit because you get a lot of speed. Again, same deal as the entry to the last right-hander. Up on the curbing, and just sort of, again, just sort of a little bit of trail brake, just holding it, just to help with the car rotating. Don't accelerate too early here because it'll fuck you over. Probably try to avoid that curve, to be honest, because it's not really the best. It unsettles the car just a little bit, but you'll get away with just getting through it. This is probably the most important part now, is running it all the way out. You want to prioritize your exit speed coming out of here, getting on throttle early enough just to run the car out to this green strip. Hold the car there until you're ready to turn in here. If you find yourself, well, sorry, I guess the idea of this is that you pretty much stay flat. I like to get the tyres on the grate here, and then run the car all the way out to that green line again. A big trap that I fell into early on, and you may fall into, is you'll find yourself running wide here, holding flat, and running wide out to the gravel. If that is the case, try and just delay your turn in a little bit. If you turn in too early, you'll find that you can't turn in sharp enough, and you'll just run wide. So try turning in just a little bit late. It looks like I'm turning in sort of almost where this green patch here. I know you're probably not going to be able to see that from the cockpit. Oh, you can. Yeah, I'm turning in just sort of as I'm getting to this little bit of service road on the right. So use that as a reference. Holding that all the way. Some tyres are up to 10. Through here's pretty self-explanatory. Get wide here. As long as your right hand or your left hand tyres don't cross the line, you'll avoid an off track. So hold that wide, hold it wide, and then be really smooth here. This is probably the point that I exaggerate. If I show the wheel, you'll see that it's just smooth all the way. It's only slight, but keep it smooth and steady, because anything sharp here, especially with the lower wing on the rear, will send you around in circles. Make sure you're running the car all the way out to this curbing here. You'll only get an off track if the left-hand tyres come off of the curbing altogether, which doesn't happen unless you have so make sure you use the track. Bus stop. There's a white timing line here, which I use as a reference. Problem is when it either rains or it gets dark, that timing line disappears, and there's nothing really else that you can use at all. Once you get to here, there's nothing really around it, so in all honesty, I sort of eyeball it. That was Brent.
I eyeball it too, always.
Oh, thanks, Jerry. It's hard to get it, so it's sort of just a car length or two after that. Try to avoid getting on the ABS if you can, but it's fine if you do. You can jack. You can have a lot more entry speed than you think. There's a big dip in the track here, and you'll see that I hit it with a fair amount of speed, but the car pulls around anyway. And that's just because of the nature of the bump in the track. You see it sort of, there you go, that's a good example. You see it really grips up at the front. So just experiment with that a little bit in your practice. See, I even took that too slow or turned in too early. It grips up really nicely. Quick blip of throttle, and then back to the left, avoiding the sausage curb. And then run this right out as well on exit. Use these curbings here, avoiding the off track. And that's pretty much a lap of it. So, yeah, good luck.